Hello, everybody, and let me just get my complete act together. How's everybody doing today? I am so excited to be seeing you all because it has been a minute since we've been live. So welcome to our first episode of the Travel CEO session. So let me make sure I can get comments up so I can see said comments at the same time. How's everybody doing? So it's like, hold on, you guys got to remember that sometimes I am super techie, but at the same time, sometimes I am not. So hold on, let me get my notes and everything up at the same time. And let's see if I can get chat up. All right. Happy 2025. I know we are already in the middle of month 2, but I am glad to be here at our first episode of Travel CEO. So hopefully you guys have seen the new sort of name of our group. We are now referred to as the Travel CEO Network. We are now going to be hosting weekly our Travel CEO sessions. And for those who are new to me and new to this episode, welcome. My name is Sundey Gardner, and this is where we are going to come together every week to talk all about learning how to stop the hustle and really build a travel business that is profitable and real, right? Not just a hobby. And so in the series that we're going to be doing over the next several weeks, we're going to be really challenging everything that you know about running your travel business. We are not going to be talking about cookie cutter solutions, sort of the everyday solutions that you get from other so-called travel gurus. We're really going to be avoiding played out strategies and focusing on the shift that we all need to make into being the CEO of our business. And so a little bit about my journey, if you are new, and even if you are old to me, I am a workaholic. I have traditionally been a workaholic as long as I can remember. And when I was building my travel business before I started solely coaching, I was on constant hustle. And for those of you who are, most of my audience is women, most of my women are African American. And if you're not African American, this can still very much apply. But there's this whole concept in our culture of the hustle mentality, right? And that we praise the hustle. And that was my go-to. I'm a hustler, I am a workaholic, and I'm going to do all that I can do. And really what that has created for me in my life is a lot of burnout. I am burning both ends of the stick. I am, building a business. I was at one time working full time. At one time in my life, I was working a full-time corporate job. I was starting a travel business. I was also at a barbershop business. And by golly, we also did a transportation business at the same time. And so, there's been a couple of instances in my life that the result of that burnout has caused health issues. And so is it necessary to hustle that hard to create your dreams? And I'm going to challenge you throughout this series to say no. Don't get me wrong. I do not believe in a quick fix or quick scheme, quickness to the grind and to getting what you want. But I definitely do not endorse a hustle mentality that ultimately gets you burned out. And so in each episode that we are going to have, we're really going to be talking about the strategies that are you need to implement. So we're not just going to be talking about theory. It's going to be really around those strategies that are going to get you real results and not cookie cutter solutions. So what I want to say is, I hustled a lot in my life. And I don't mean like, because there's a negative connotation to hustle. I'm really talking about the hustle where you're like working your ass off and there's like no room to breathe or enjoy yourself. How many of you guys are out there who have failed or operated in that mode? And there's this whole concept of saying like, if you hustle, it's going to make you rich. And the reality is, if it was, as many people that I know who are hustling, they'd be a millionaire by now. And just because you're working long hours doesn't mean, and you're taking on more clients, doesn't mean that your bank account reflects that. So let me know in comments if you kind of feel like that may be your situation or you can relate to that situation. And so I always love when I do things live too. So I never know kind of what kind of response I can get. So please put them in the comments if you would. And if you do watch this in the replay, I will reply. If you tag my name, I'll reply as well. And so here's another personal story. Is about 3 years ago, I was absolutely you in terms of those people who replied. So it's 2025. 3 years ago was 2022. I was working round the clock. And we had just launched a program for travel advisors, and I was at the height of that program, and my back went out, and I had to stop. And so I had to reevaluate what it was that I wanted to do, and what it was that I don't know how many of you are of a certain age. I'm of a certain age, 52, and my body is not the way it used to be. So I've also met advisors who are also working round the clock, booking 30 plus trips, aiming for fits and group trips. They're answering emails at 2 a.m. in the morning. They're missing their kids' recitals. I mean, I can remember before we moved to Georgia, I missed my son's track games because I was working as much. And what I want to say to you today is we need to break that cycle. What I'm going to do is talk to you about ways that you can increase your income while cutting your work in half. And it's not really about working more hours, taking on more clients. It's really around being strategic about the work that you're doing and positioning yourself so that you can work less, make more in a way that it feels good to you, right? Again, I'm not talking about trying to swindle people out of money. I'm not trying to, talk about any of that. I'm really talking about how do we be strategic in the way that we do things so that we can get the results that we want and also create these amazing experiences for our clients. And so let me also break down for you why working more hours is killing not only your business, it's also killing your life. And so I'm just going to do the numbers, because if any of you guys know me out there, you know that I am a numbers person. Let's just say you were working on commission only and you book 10 $3,000 trips, right? And that's $30,000 in gross sales. And let's say your average commission for that is 10%. That means you're going to be making about $3,000 commission, right? Can we all agree that that math is mathing, right? And that means that you've got to manage 10 people. That's 10 different itineraries that you're doing. Now, you could argue, well, what if I'm doing a group trip? Doesn't matter. It's still 10 sets of people that you've got to manage to and fro, right? Can we agree on this example and those numbers, right? And that's 10 potential problems that you can resolve. That's 10 potential flights that could be missed, right? There's complexity in numbers. I'm a certified project manager, and what I remember when I was studying for the exam way back when, one of the pillars of project management is communications. And the more people that you add to a communication channel, the more complex the communication gets. It's like there's a whole formula in project management on how you calculate the amount of communication hooks that you have. And what I want to tell you is the more clients that you take on, the more communication you have to do, the more on point, and the more breakdown opportunities there are. Can you guys agree to that concept, right? So the more clients you take on, the more points of failure potentially that you have. Now, what if I say you flip that, and instead of working with 10 clients at 3,000, you worked with 3 clients at 10,000, right? How would that make you feel? Less clients, less communication channels that you have to work on, less areas for breakdown, less stress for you because it's less people that you got to keep up with, itineraries. It's just less, right? But the money is the same, but the work is different, right? Can we understand how having more potentially does increase your stress levels, increases your complexity in terms of managing your business, right? So you're going to be like, well, how the hell do I get $10,000 clients? Well, there's a strategy for that. We'll talk about that. So number one, we understand by adding more people, adding more, trying to increase more hours in the day, which is not possible, but adding more people to the mix does create more work. And by so, that means if you've got more clients to work with, you either need to increase your staff, you need to increase the availability of yourself in order to be able to service those number of people, right? What's your objective? I'd love to know what you guys is. So thank you for the happy birthday. Tell me, what is your objective in terms of, would you want to work with more clients, or would you want to work with less clients that pay you more money, right? Their average ticket is more money. Let me know in the comments. And I'm so bad about like greeting you all. Let me just stop for a moment and say hello to those who are in the room. So Denise, thank you for the happy birthday. Priscilla, thank you. Cynthia, nice to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. Who else is on here? Dana, nice to have you on. Maria, love seeing you. Dottie, thanks for joining. I think Alicia, thank you for joining as well. So I need to do a better job. Pam, nice to see you. Dana, I think I've already said that. And then Martine, nice to meet you. And so I need to do a better job of recognizing you taking the time to join me live in person, so to speak. So we can agree that more people, more communication, more complexity in the way that you operate your business. There's just more to that. But which sounds more sustainable to you? 10 clients or 3 clients at 10,000? Which one would you prefer as a travel agency owner, right? And so I'm going to assume, again, no matter what your relationship, I don't care how you get the travel superpowers. So I don't care if you're with the host agency or not. My assumption is that you're travel agency owners and you are the one that makes the decision in your business. Is that an accurate assumption on my part? Every one of you all are the business owner. You make the decisions. The buck stops with you, and you are the ones that everything needs to go through, right? You get to define your business model. You get to define all of the major decisions that happen in your business. If that is you, then which one of those sound good to you? 3 or 10 clients? Same money. We're talking about the same amount of money. What do you prefer in terms of the business model that you're working with? And as you guys are working on that, I'm going to talk about sort of the next step, or the next sort of hustle trap that we're in, is the quality of your life, right? So look back in 2022. We were running our foundations program, and we were onboarding students, and I was everywhere. I think at that time I was still working a corporate job, and so I'm running a program, trying to grow the coaching business. I think we were still booking trips, and so I was everywhere. And the quality of my life, I was at my desk 12 plus hours a day, sitting down, gaining ridiculous amounts of weight. And I couldn't even break away to go on vacation. And so let me ask you this question. When is the last time that you took a vacation without your laptop? Right? When's the last time that you did that? That you didn't actually have to you went on vacation, right? Because a lot of, and I'm not even going to say vacation, you went out of town and you weren't tied to the laptop. When's the last time that you guys did that? The last time I did that was in December. I went to Jamaica and I did not take a laptop. I went to Bali and I didn't take a laptop. And let me tell you, I did take my tablet, but I did not work in Jamaica. I did a little bit of work in Bali, but I did not work in Jamaica. And the feeling of your business still making money, things still getting done, even without you, that's CEO game. And if I had to say, that's the hustle game, right? If I want to establish some type of game that I want to play, that's the game that I want to do. So the quality of your life, if you are an entrepreneur, right, and you're in the beginning stages, I do understand what it is like to be a startup, but our goal is not to stay in startup phase. Like, would you agree that your goal is not to stay in the startup phase, right? You know that you're going to have to burn a lot more oil, particularly if you're working a full-time job and you're growing your travel business. You may have to do a little bit more, a lot more than you normally would do. But my question to you is, what kind of business are you trying to create long term, and are you establishing the path to do that, right? And part of that is, I am creating a business not only because I don't want to be in corporate America, but I also want to have the freedom of money and the freedom of my time, right? So the quality of your life based on the way that you structure your business, how is that going? We want to make sure that you can make it to every dinner, you can make it to every game, you can enjoy the quality of your life on your terms. So that means you've got to build a business, because I have done it. Let me tell you, I've built good businesses. I've built profitable businesses, but I've built businesses that are tied to Sunday being tied to it. And I don't want to do that anymore. Do you guys? Like, do you want to do that? So here's an example. Last year in I always love when I do this and I forget to turn off Alexa. And then my husband's running around outside, making Alexa go off. Is last year, one of the advisors in our community, I'm just going to give her, for anonymity, give her the name Jane. And she had this great, huge booking. It was a wedding booking. And she was excited, right? So she was like, yes, I got this wedding booking, and it's got the potential of having like 20, 30 people. And in her mind, when we were talking, I could see and hear the cha-ching in her head, right? She's like, okay, if I get 30 people that book this wedding, right, that commission check is going to be great. Simple question I asked her is, what did she charge for doing the wedding? And she looked at me like I was crazy. She's like, what do you mean, what did I charge? She didn't charge anything for the wedding. And I was like, oh, wow. And so when people tell me stuff, I'll like raise my eyebrows and I'll be like, oh, wow. Right. And so I just talked to her. So this was last year. And so I just talked to her this past week. And what she had described to me has happened with the wedding was unfortunate, but there were signs all along the way, right? And it wasn't anything that she did, but just the way that the client interacted with her. They were demanding. They are now threatening potentially to ask for refunds, and they'll probably go through their credit card to do that if they do. And so she's totally stressed out. So what she thought ultimately was going to be this great experience turned out to be hell on wheels. Not only that, she didn't get paid for the service. She only got paid commission. And there was all of this time and energy that was spent in the delivery of that trip. And it didn't pay off financially, but the stress on her, the amount of angst, not only preparing and getting her people booked, but also while they were out on trip, all of that work didn't equate to the money that she made. So I'm just going to ask you, I did get the opportunity to set up a poll. And so our next episode, we will have a poll, is how many hours per week would you say that you're spending on making your travel business work, right? Making it do what it needs to do for you to live. If you're not doing this full time and you're doing part time, how many hours are you doing your business to do what it do? Like, let me know in comments. I'd love to see what, I'm trying to keep up with the comments. Somebody wrote, what is a vacation? Maria, we need to change that, right? And that was definitely my story back in 2022. It's like, we got on vacation and there goes my laptop with me. And I actually gave my laptop to my son for when he went to college, and I haven't gotten another one. So How many hours? I'd love to know how many hours you guys are spending. And while you guys are doing that, I'll come back to this and see kind of what our results are here. Here's really the solution to what you guys are saying is there is a way out of this hustle trap. And if it isn't working for you, it's really time for you to work smarter through strategic pricing. So 6 to 10 because you're part-time. Fair enough. All right. So not enough people for me to really see. So next, like I said, next time I'll have the poll set up and we'll do polls live so we can actually get the number of people who are participating. We can see how many of you guys are realizing the questions that I'm asking. But in the meantime, here's the solution for your, we want to really talk about how you can work smarter and not harder through this. And this is the concept of strategic pricing. How many of you guys are relying solely on commission? I want to know just from the 20 or so people that are joining us live, how many of you guys are solely commission? How many of you guys are commission free? Like you do other pricing in your revenue stream? So most of you guys are responding to the question that most of you guys are part-time. But if you think about if you're working full-time, 20 hours is about how much part-time could be. So effectively, you are working full-time as a part-time person. Like all of your hours are spent, all of your available part-time hours are spent on this business, right? Most of you guys are also telling me that you are solely commission. So when it comes to pricing, are you are you charging about the same price that the suppliers do? Are you charging, if supplier X says $5,000, you're charging maybe a small markup, that's what you're charging, right? You're not charging any sort of markup. You've not done any valuation on the trip. You're pretty much charging exactly what, and then you're relying solely on commissions. The answer is yes, if you're relying on commissions. Your money from the trip is solely based on what the supplier is going to pay you, correct? Is that a fair statement? So somebody wrote that they're getting planning fees on the front end. So that's service-based revenue that you're getting on the front end, which is great. But not enough to live off of, which is what I typically hear. Someone says, yes, they are doing a markup. All right. And charging fees, small markup. All right. So really, it's fair to say that the majority of your bread and butter is coming from commission revenue from your supplier. Someone says that they do a markup. I assess a goodwill deposit. I have no idea what that is. Doesn't sound like something I want to be a part of. Are you giving it back? Like, I hope you say no. But okay, I'm getting a feeling for what it is that you're doing. But what I want to introduce to you is this concept of strategic pricing. And it really isn't about charging more for the same thing. So if you are designing a trip and you go, let's say, to your supplier and they give you air, hotel, and maybe 1 or 2 activities, and you flip that and you chart. I'm not talking about just taking what somebody can get online and taking that price and giving it to them at a more expensive price. That is not what strategic pricing is. What I want to do is give you an example. So let's take Sarah, for example. And like I said, last August, we went to Bali. And so 7-day trip and the package for Bali. Let's say you're using a vendor, a Culture Holiday as an example. Their basic Bali is about $1,500. So maybe you package that up for $3,000, right? That's going to include temple. It's going to Instagram picture. It's going to have all these sort of standard types of things in it, right? It's going to be decent beaches, good hotel, usual tours, right? All the Instagram moments, right? It's going to have all of that stuff. And let's say that becomes your signature thing. That's what you want to sell. But literally, and I'm going to actually use Dubai as an example, right? Because Dubai is becoming to me, in our countdown, like Jam, which she's amazing. So those who don't know the Jam in my life, she is our lead, all things my brand, and she put together that montage of our Dubai trip. Dubai has got a pretty standard itinerary in terms of what you do with that. And so take any of your standard packages, and if that's your signature trip, and you're selling it at $3,000, it's got the regular run-of-the-mill sort of things. let's say you sell 20 of those and you're selling 20 of those, let's say in a quarter, 6 months, whatever the time period is, right? 3,000 times 20, that's $60,000, right? And what if you were to take that same package that you were selling and you transform it into a real experience, right? And what if you take that same 7-day package and I'm talking about Bali because I know Bali and I know Dubai, right? And instead of doing the hotel that Culture Holidays does, I do a private villa and I add personalized cooking class with the local chef, right? And I do an exclusive sunrise access to one of the famous temples that are normally crowded by tourists. So if you've ever been to Bali, all of those Instagrammable locations are flooded with tourists. But what if I create an experience where they're not going to be flooded by tourists? They're not going to feel like they're with every single body else. And I change that itinerary to create an experience that is really one of a kind for the people that join it. And I change the price from $3,000 to $7,500. What's the result? So when Sarah did this, her result is she increased the number of packages that she sold. So from going from 20, she was able to go to 40 number of packages, right? Because they can't find it, everyone. If you go Google Bali and you go find other travel advisors who are selling it, they're selling this sort of standard itinerary. And as an experienced travel advisor, and maybe many of you may think I'm not experienced, that's another conversation that we'll have in just a minute. But as somebody who wants to sell high ticket, you've got to create experiences that are not available for everywhere, right? Even some of these experiences that can't be shopped online, when you look at another travel advisor or what the norm is being done for these hot areas, you don't want to fit into that norm. You want to create these sort of unique experiences. And by taking a look at what you're doing, transforming it into a premium offer and then sticking a premium price tag to it as well and positioning it different allows you to take the same work that you're doing. It's not going to take you anymore to sell that, right? It's not going to take you anymore to sell what is already a part of your signature. But what it does is it transforms the trip itself and then also the way that you can market it. This, again, is not about just taking your same trip, putting a higher price tag on it, because there's really not any value in that, in doing that, right? Particularly if your trips look like everybody else's trip. If your trips can be shopped online, if your trips are the same trips that every other advisor is doing, you want to make sure that your trips, now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you can't create an itinerary that's similar, but you certainly want to make sure that you differentiate it from the regular mill experience that people can find. Does that make sense? Hopefully. The other thing is you absolutely do not want to be creating experiences that look exactly like Expedia.com, Priceline.com, or any of the other .coms that are out there that online shopping for travel is happening. So Kayak, any place online happens, you want to make sure that your trips don't look like that. All right. So here's the value price connection: is price is what you charge. Value is what they get. And so that is what you really need to be ensuring, that when you design your trips, that it's got the value out of it. Well, what is value? How do you articulate value? This is where you've got to know who you're working for. Who is your ideal client? They don't just pay for your time, they're paying for what they're going to get, the experience. So really the motto of this sort of this series and this CEO session is we sell experiences. We're not selling transactions. So online travel advisors or agents or booking engines, they sell a transaction. They will get you from point A to point B. You are selling an experience. And if you don't think of yourself as an experienced seller, then you need to reevaluate why are you in business? If it is to create transactions, then you probably need a whole different model, right? In terms of the way that you market and the way that you do everything. If I was in the business of selling trip transactions, I would create a membership site. I would create an online travel engine and I would do that and I would market the hell out of that. I wouldn't create custom itineraries. Does that make sense? Like my model would be totally different if I wanted to create prepackaged adventures that they could find and they could compare it against some other online travel business. Number 2 question I want to ask you. When it comes to pricing, what do you guys find to be your biggest challenge? Is it the price itself? Is it what's included in the price? What is your biggest challenge that you find when it comes to setting the price? Even for those that are doing markups, what do you find to be the biggest challenge in marking up your trips? All right, so while you guys are doing that, I'm going to, let's just make sure I'm not missing any comments. What I want to do is I book with DMCs, somebody said, and those package myself, my average commission is 18 to 22%. Okay, those darn credit card processing fees, adjusting for currency fluctuations, price changes, processing fees. All right, so these are all common. These all should not be surprises to you, right? You have to, so when it comes to strategic pricing, these pricings should be a part of the model. So it should be a part of how you price. Any cost that you have. So this is why I think it's so important when you do a deal, because I do consider travel to be deals, right? So either I'm doing a group trip deal and I intend to sell multiple of those deals in one group trip, or I'm selling fit deals. And those fit deals need to have a price model associated with, needs to include your operational costs. Processing fees are directly related to a trip, so they should be accounted for. So if you decide to eat them and you don't account, that's going to eat in your bottom line, right? So pricing needs to cover those types of costs. End of story, right? All of the things that make a trip for you, whatever you define, need to be included in the pricing model. But here are some of the things that I get as objections from people who, when I talk to them about strategic pricing, one of the major objectives I get is, but my clients won't pay more for the trips. And my first shift that I want you to really think about is, are these the right clients for your expertise? So if you are creating a signature experience and this is your themed experience, this is the experience that you are doing, and people are saying that, they won't pay, are these the right clients? Are you attracting the kind of client that matches the experiences that you want to sell? Because budget travelers are always going to exist. That is a fact of story. But so are luxury seekers, right? Luxury travelers exist as well. And you need to decide for your business, who is it that you want to serve? Are you serving the people that just come to you and you've done no vetting about who they are and what kind of experiences they want? Are you just hoping that people will come to you? Or are you on purpose deciding who you want to service in from a trip perspective? My recommendation here, if you're feeling like this, that people aren't going to pay you, is that you need to absolutely start your strategic pricing with new clients. For the existing clients that you have, if you already have an existing client base and you're like, they're not going to pay, I would start slow with them, introduce your higher price points, your new packaging structure alongside your sort of current offering, and then give them the opportunity to upgrade. So what this would look like is let's say you have a trip that you're getting ready to release and you normally do it at this 3,000 point. I would create an upgrade path that would be 5,000 or 6,000 or whatever that number would be, and allow people who would normally be at the 6,000 the opportunity to upgrade to the new sort of level that you want to be selling at. The second objection that I get is that I'm in a price sensitive market, right? My people, it's very much similar to the first objection, but really every market has a premium segment. Every market in travel, no matter what your specialization, the people that you are working, there are low end, middle, and high end. You've got to make a decision as to where you want to be. And once you make the decision, people will tell me, well, I can't find the premium market. Then you need to create it. And how do you do that? You need to create a segment and a positioning for yourself where people will see you as the solver of their problems. So doesn't and again, it doesn't matter who you want to service. It doesn't matter if you want to service retired people, moms, you want to service people who want to do sports trip. It doesn't matter who you want to serve. There is a low, medium, and high end, an ultra high end of that market. And your objective is based on who you decide as the CEO of your company. Then you need to position yourself to be in front of that market. So it's not about you're stuck in a market. It's because you choose not to get out of that market and go to whatever level that you want to do, and then take the business along with you. Does that make sense? So here's a tip for you to do is really focus on the unique value that you bring to that market, not only the financial part of the market, but the people in and of itself. This is why I always say that we are everyone knows travel is a people business, right? But it's not the what you sell, right? It's not destinations that really is the key. It's not the mode of transportation that really is the key, right? And so what I mean by that, it's not that you want to specialize in cruising. It's not that you want to specialize in Dubai or Bali, right? It's the people that you want to take to those destinations. If you can specialize in them and you understand where they are, right? And if you know that your desire is to be at the higher end of that market, then specialize in the people, right? At the level financially that you want to be, and then position yourself in front of them. Does that make sense? So we want you to focus on whyareyouthe.bomb.com. Why can you uniquely service that group of people to the destinations that you want to take them, to the mode of travel that you want to focus on, right? What insights do you have that make you so uniquely positioned to service them? What are the connections that you offer that big online agencies can't offer, right? And it's always going to be for us that ability to connect to them at a personal level that most big agencies cannot do. The third objection that I get is that, and this is a common one, particularly for new advisors, is that they'll say, I don't have enough experience to charge more, right? I have to charge $2,500, whatever the supplier does with the small markup, because I don't have enough experience. I have a lot of advisors that tell me that they don't feel comfortable with charging a fee because they don't have the experience. And I say, shame on you, right? Because and this is an example that I use often. I'm going to continue to use it. Is that it doesn't matter if a professional, right, a consultant. When I was an accountant, when I first got my certification as a PM, doctors, lawyers, they come out of school, and when I will remember my doctor started a practice, and he just got out of school and he started a practice. He didn't charge me any less because he was a new doctor, right? If you don't have the experience to do your business, it is your responsibility to get that experience. It's not your responsibility to give it away for free. That means that you need to solve the gap of you having the experience and the knowledge that you need so that you can charge what ultimately you are worth. So if you don't have a particular destination experience, go get it. If you don't have if you don't know how to run your business, go get the experience, go get the knowledge. It's your responsibility. You're the CEO. There's no one else to do it. So giving away your services for free while you get on the job experience, there's no reason for you to do that. Hire the expertise or get the expertise. That is what I would say. What I also want to do is I want you to think about the experiences that you have from your job. I bring to the table, right? I bring to the table my experience in technology. I bring to the table my experiences in opening and running my own businesses, right? That has positioned me to be who Sundey is, right? There is no other Sundey. There's only one Sundey. There's only one of you. And your life of experiences, job, personal, all of that create a unique positioning that only you have. So just because you may not have, I will tell you, not, there are other business coaches who've been in travel for 20 years. They don't bring the type of experience to the table that I do because maybe they don't have a technology background. My mind operates different than most other coaches, right? The same thing with your travel business. Just because you may not have travel experience doesn't mean that you don't bring experience to the table. And so I want to also give you that, as well, is actually tap into who you are, right? Particularly when it comes to servicing a particular audience. One of the things that I work with my clients with is like, who is their who, and why do they want to work with that who? I'll use one of the students who's in our foundation. She wants to work with people who are service providers, like counselors and welfare counselors, to help them get out of town because they're always pouring into people. And the reason why she wants to do that is because she's in that industry, right? She doesn't have any travel experience, but she has a unique understanding of that market because she works deeply with it. So just because you don't have the travel experience doesn't mean that you don't have the experience to be able to service the market, and you can always get the travel experience. And what I will tell you is, just because you don't have the travel experience and you start servicing a community of people that you know well, right? You charging for your experience is worth it, right? Because you still have that unique perspective that a basic travel advisor who's 20 years experience won't have in that person. So specialize in people. You have a perspective, you have an approach to the way that you're going to run your business, and that has value. And I don't want you to forget that. So I want you to drop all these fears around pricing. I can't because of this, I can't because of that. What I would challenge you to do is write down, what are your fears as to taking a package that you have and creating a higher value of that? What fears do you have? And write about that and get them out on the table. All right, what I want to talk about now is really this value vault system. So this is really around a system that I've created, which allows you to consistently create and price high value travel experiences. So I want to break it down. It's going to be really into 3 parts. The first one is, who are you? So we just talked a little bit about that. Identify your unique proposition. Why you are uniquely positioned to service the people that you want to do. What can you offer that no one else can do? Nobody, like to date, I have yet to find somebody who has my background doing what I'm doing. Not because I'm special. Well, it is because I'm special, and that's really the reality, right? I have a set of skills that I've acquired over the 30 years that I have been working, that I've decided to apply to this industry. What is your story? What is it that you have to offer? Maybe it's, again, personal connections that you have with your audience or in the travel industry in terms of destination, or it's your expertise in a specific type of travel. All of that is important and is valuable. And so here's an example, is that I've had an advisor in our community who specialized in Europe, right? Literary themed tours. And she creates experiences where clients can write in the same cafes as famous authors. I went to Cuba a couple of years ago, and Ernest Hemingway, as you know, if you've never been to Cuba, one of the tours that we went to is, we went to Ernest Hemingway's house, and then we also went to a bar that, like, he's famous for being at. And just building that, like, if just the whole idea of having a literary themed tour in Europe and then visiting those spaces for that audience would be thrilling, right? So that is unique. And again, the trip component is probably very similar to all of the trips that we do. We've got to find accommodations, we've got to find transportation, we've got to find activities. But the fact that it caters to a very specific market and it's appealing to that market, that is a unique value proposition. Number 2 thing that you can do is, I want for you all who, no, I'm not sharing my screen. No, I'm not sharing my screen, but I am referring to notes. If you see me looking off to the side, I'm referring to notes. Number 2 is for those who are selling trips and you've been at this for a while and you're like, I don't know how to go from where I am today my recommendation is to create a tiered offer. And so maybe you do this already in your quotes as you give people an option 1 and an option 2, right? Maybe it's different locations, but maybe it literally a tiered value that you can give. And so what I want you to really think about is travel is not one size fits all. You know, the offers can't be one size fits all, but if you have signature offers that you or signature itineraries that you're consistently offer, what I want you to start to do is create a tier. What does a standard package look like, and what does a person get in terms of value? And then create a premium package level. That is something that you can do right away. So if you've got a trip that you're planning right now, immediately create yourself a standard package and a premium package, and make sure that it includes some value add that isn't a normal thing that you would do. So I love VIP packaging. And so when you present and you do your quotes, and this goes, and I'm going to tell you that what I'm talking about applies for not only fit, it also applies for your group trips as well, is that you have a standard. And typically what we do as advisors, and don't get me wrong, I've been known to do this as well, is a standard package really deals with room categories, right? It's room categories. I'm going to give you, you can have the deluxe versus the swim up bar. And I'm asking you to think beyond that. I'm asking you to think when it comes to value and these packages beyond just the accommodations. I'm talking about exclusivity, access to you as the advisor before, during, or after. Those are things, non-monetary inclusions that you can add to your packages. Create yourself tiers. I'm an odd lover. Like, I love numbers that are in increments of odd. I do everything marketing wise in odd, just odd. I don't know if I read it somewhere. I probably did. So I would do 3 tiers. I would do a basic. I would do just like the airlines, right? I would do a premium, an economy, and a VIP or first class. I really do like using that same nomenclature. You can create those kinds of offers as well. Not only does it relate to your trip package offers, which are products, I'm also saying your services as well. So don't forget your services should also have those same level tiers as well. And then 3 part of the value method is communicating value effectively. It's not just what you offer, it's how you present it. You need to use language, right? So I want you to think about our senses. It's visual, audio, and feel, right? So oftentimes we don't get the opportunity to let people touch things, but certainly the sound, so what you say, and then what you present in terms of the visuals. So focus on using vivid language, focus on the outcomes, right? And when I know that this may be a little bit of a stretch for advisors, because they're like, well, we don't really create outcomes. You absolutely do. People travel not because they have to. They travel because they're looking for something. What is that something that you are providing? It is your responsibility when it comes to working with your clients to understand the something. What is that thing, that feeling that they are trying to achieve? What is the outcome that they want? Travel always has an outcome, and what is the outcome that you're delivering? And it's not just accommodations and transportation, right? It's more than that. And so you've got to be able to use the language and the imagery to represent that. So an example of this is, this is a very common term that advisors use is, we offer private tours. Right. So instead of using the word private, use the word exclusive, behind the scenes. Right. So this just the combination of those words lets people think, oh, well, that means I'm probably not going to be with crowds. I'm going to be able to get something that other people don't get to get, right? That creates this sort of exclusivity that your activities and or your trips can provide, particularly for those people that are looking for. If you say, and you can create this, right? So again, I'm not asking you to create false experience expectations, but actually I want you to deliver on this is, can you create activities, access to an activity or a tour that gives them access before standard hours, right? Usually when it's closed to the public. having a lot of the DMCs that I use, a lot of the tour operators that I use, they give you guides, and those guides are very knowledgeable about the destination, and we don't play it up enough. You don't talk about that information that guide is going to provide. Language, right? Language and imagery is up to you. So what I want you to use is, and this is where, for those of you who are not new to me and know that I am really, my goal in life is to become the travel AI queen, all things AI as much as possible when it comes to the travel industry. And so, hold on, I think I need to mute some people. When it comes to, if you're looking for how to use language in a different way when presenting your information, AI is a great, and the AI tool I would use for this is Claude AI. ChatGPT is great, but Claude definitely, when it comes to language and putting together words, is a really great AI tool for that. This method that we've talked about really is about breaking this sort of hustle cycle, focusing on creating exceptional value with fewer people, right? We want to do this with fewer people, higher price points, and not doing the regular old mill. So that what I want you to do is, I really want you to be thinking about, how are you as a travel advisor going to start with value, right? When it comes to price increasing, we want to follow it with value, not just with, I'm going to increase it to 20% and that's it. And it's really the same thing that everybody else can get everywhere else. All right. Last thing is I've got this challenge for you. And so this is what you're going to also see in our series, is we're going to have a challenge every session where I'm going to challenge you to do something, and we're going to take it inside of our CEO network, our CEO. It's the Travel CEO Network. I've got to get used to the new name. And this is going to be called our Value Stack Makeover Challenge. And what I want you to do is, I want you to take your most popular package that you sell, the one that you book in your sleep, right? This is your go-to package. And I guess I'll ask in comments, do all of you all have a signature package that you guys love to sell or want to sell, and that's sort of your go-to, and you have won awards for selling this itinerary, or you want to win awards selling this itinerary? Do you guys have a standard package? If not, pick one. Pick a package that you want this to become your popular package. And then what I want you to do is list 3 unique elements that you could add that cost you little or nothing in perceived value. Think exclusive access, personalized touches, or unexpected luxuries. If you are inside of our network, I want you to also, I'll tag this post. I just dropped a prompt inside of our CEO network yesterday that will give you how to do this. It's a prompt that you can stick into Claude or ChatGPT and take your package and create some ideas for you. All right. Somebody says, I don't have a go-to. All right, I have packages I've created, and now I think I will start. Lovely, that is good. And then I want you to create so I want you to identify 3 elements. That prompt that I put inside of the group will help you do that very thing. And then I want you to create a premium version of that package. Price it at least 50% higher than you would normally do, right? That is your challenge. So I want you to take some time, work on that this week, next week. And then if you'd like, come inside of the Travel CEO Network and share it. You can tag my name on it. But what we'd love to do is get eyes on it, because we are a community and we can help each other be successful. So if you're not a member of the Travel CEO Network, all you have to do is, let me type in the comments. Let me type in the comments what the name of it's Online Travel Boss. I should have had this ready, but first time. It's onlinetravelboss.com/CEO network, and that will take you directly into the community. And share what you come up with. I'd love to hear. So I will personally be reviewing these, what your challenge responses are, and let's see what the biggest transformations that you guys come up with in terms of your packages. Listen, this is your chance to get direct feedback from me. And so I'm going to kind of open it up for a little bit of Q&A. Some common questions that I get. So if you have a question that you'd like to ask, you can drop it in the comments. In the intro, I'm going to go over some common questions that I get when it comes to that. The first question that I get is, how do I start raising my prices without scaring away all my current clients? This is one of the common questions that I get. And my first response is to start with new clients. So if you already have a base of clients, maybe you've been doing trips and they're already used to a particular price point, start with your new clients. And then for your existing clients, introduce a new premium tier for them. And this will allow them to opt into it so that so it doesn't feel like it's forced on them, but you give them the opportunity to upgrade into this premium option. So from point forward, as you start to present to your existing clients trips that you are planning for them, give them sort of what they're accustomed to, and then give them a value premium version of that and allow them to upgrade into that. The number two common question that I get is, I'm new to the industry. How can I justify charging premium prices? My response to that would be for you to focus on your unique perspective that you bring. Every one of you all have a history. You come to the table with job expertise, history in terms of your perception of travel. Even if you are not so experienced with travel, you do bring a perspective to your business, and you need to capitalize on that. So again, if you don't have the travel connections, that's really what you want to be after. You want to make sure that you get connections with the suppliers that you want to work with. You want to get insights bring the insights that you bring to the table. But I also want to just remind you all that as a new travel business owner, you bring a unique perspective that us people who've been in the game, I haven't been in the game for 20 years, but definitely you bring in a new perspective. And I would even venture to say younger traveler advisors as well. They're a whole different generation than me in my 50s, right? And so just because you're new doesn't mean that you don't bring a good perspective to the game. And it doesn't mean that perspective isn't valued. What we want you to absolutely be have the ability to do is to make sure that you can get people safely in and out of town. And if you don't know how to do that, you need to get that expertise. So I just want to divorce the actual logistic planning. You need to get that expertise. Once you get that, what you bring to the table is really what we want to be able to price on. The number three question that I get is, what's one simple way to add value that doesn't cost me a lot of time or money? And so I find advisors do this to attract strangers, but I think this is a better usage of this thing that I'm about to say, which is creating a personalized destination guide for each client. And so if you have a signature package, instead of offering that destination guide as a free offer to a stranger who doesn't know you and doesn't know anything about it's a feel good. It makes potential strangers feel good, but having that same destination guide that you have available that you give to your clients, and then you've added a personal touch to it, that is a value add, right? You can build that guide with a standard set of content and then add on personal pieces as insights based on whatever you discover on the discovery call or whatever that particular trip is, and make that to be the personal value that you do. AI is thebomb.com to help you with that. So you can have a standard guide that you do for your signature trip, and then you personalize it for your client, have AI help you to compile not only the standard guide, but also how to personalize it based on what you know about your client. That is a high perceived value item that you can add to your trip It's not going to cost you a lot of money to create it. It's a digital product and it can be a part of your premium offer. And then the last question that I get as a common question is, how do I compete with online booking sites that seem to always have lower prices? My response is, stop competing. You're not an online booking site, unless of course that's what you want to be. And then I would argue, like I said before, if you want to be like a cheap booking, then this is not the right training for you. Don't get me wrong, there are CEOs that are needed for budget travel and budget businesses, but the strategies that I'm going to talk about are really going to be for high ticket travel and high value travel experiences. But so if you want to be that, stop trying to compete with the people that are not in the same market, right? Louis Vuitton doesn't compete with Walmart. They're not in the same market. They don't have the same, they may have the same clients, but their product positioning isn't the same, and neither should you be. So stop doing it. They can't, online sites can't offer on personalized recommendations. They can't advocate for the client at the same level that you can. They can't provide the human touch that you do, and they can't make things truly special for their clients like you do. So that's really the thing, is don't compete, because it's apples and oranges, actually. And so listen, I'd love to hear how you thought of this session. And so I'm going to leave you with this. If you are not part of the Travel CEO Network, please join us inside the network. It's absolutely free to do that. Somebody asked about the replay. The replays will be available for each of our seasons inside of the network. So you want to join us there. You want to take the challenge that I just gave you. If you missed the challenge, I'm going to post it inside of the group as well. So I want you to choose your package, add unique value, and reprice it, and then post your results inside of the network. And so make sure, if you're watching this, to like and subscribe to our channel so you can get notifications. You do want to register. So if you want to get reminders, text messages, and all that, you do want to register for our CEO sessions. You can do that through onlinetravelboss.com/CEO sessions. That will get you registered so you get our reminders. And then the last thing I want to invite you to do is that I have written a new little mini book called The Value Vault Pricing Method. And if you have not purchased that, you want to get that, it's only $3, and it's going to go over our Value Vault method that I just went over, and really help put together the strategies that it's going to take for you to go from a standard commission-based travel advisor to a value-based price advisor. And so I look forward to seeing you at our next episode. So let's talk about a little bit about what you're going to see in our next week. We're going to be tackling why selling trips is killing your business and what you need to sell instead. So trust me, you're going to want to challenge. This is going to challenge everything that you think about how you are showing up as a travel advisor. All of the resources will be available inside of the description of this video and inside of our network. And then remember our challenge. And if you want to join, just click on the link to join. And then if you have any questions that you want to, after this, go ahead and just drop them inside of our CEO network. All right. So there was a question. Let me just take a moment and answer any of the questions that I may have missed. Martinine, I'm excited to meet with you next week as well. I think that's when I saw your appointment is, so I look forward to meeting with you as well. Can you add the challenge here? Roxanne, you can join us inside of the CEO network, and the challenge, all the instructions will be inside of that, inside of our group there. And then I registered as, so hi, Valerie, nice to see you. It should be Valerie in the online travel website. Can this be corrected? You can send an email to clientsuccess@onlinetravelboss.com and just let us know to do that, and we can make the correction there. Let's say, any questions? Cynthia, you asked about the replay. You can get the replay inside of our CEO network. That'll be available there. And with that, we're 2 minutes over. Listen, ladies, I hope you enjoyed our first episode. I will see you next week, same time, same bat channel, for our next installment of our CEO session. Until then, I look forward to seeing how you create your new premium value add package and see what pricing you come up with it. I'll see you next week.